How's it going, everybody? My name is Daniel Snow, and I'm an entertainment producing concentration, which is cool because they don't make those anymore. I'm going to be talking about the timeline of my senior thesis, what's going on with that, and what's coming up for me upon graduation. And I want to start by talking about how I came up with what I ended up doing. I was in the bathroom one night, and I was thinking about primitive visual effects, specifically jump cuts. And I was thinking of stuff that I knew I could easily do here on campus, since my sister was already wrapping up her journalism degree here at Biola. And I had a simple, even unoriginal idea. Let's make a movie about a guy who can teleport objects. I think, well, that's too simple. We should give it some rules and limitations so that we can have a more compelling plot. Let's make a movie about a guy who can only teleport the last thing he touched to the last place he touched it. Okay, there's a decent enough short film, and I decided I was going to do it for my senior thesis sometime before I started my degree in 2023. I came up with the additional premise of there being some kind of heist plot with two rival fraternities, and I let stew in my notes as something that I knew would be achievable when the time came. Fast forward a couple years, I'm in the throes of my degree, suffering from a pretty bad case of perfectionism, and this was brought on by me just not being super proud of my achievements and capabilities as a producer and director. And I want to talk about this for a second because I think it's something that often goes unaddressed among students. You always hear not to compare yourself to other people, and I've always tried my best to do that, but I was getting completely outpaced and outclassed by people who went into freshman year with me, and I was becoming very disappointed with myself and my work overall. So I knew I needed to make a serious jump in improvement before I left school, and that would normally mean raising a ton of money and trying to make a movie the way that my friends do, but I knew at the end of the day that just wasn't going to work for me. I have garnered a reputation as a bit of an eccentric in certain circles, but it's actually been very difficult to find where I sit artistically compared to my classmates because I haven't been able to fit in super well. But I knew I was worth something, and I had something special to bring to the table, due in large part to our wonderful professors and faculty members who would continuously single me out and help me grow due to what I can only describe as heinous class etiquette on my part. So I looked at that old idea of mine, which on paper should be a horrible senior thesis, and I decided I was going to do it. I gave it the incredible title of Cut Man, based on the idea I was thinking about in the bathroom. I made that poster in a night back in August, and I think it stuck pretty well. However, since that idea, I had watched some more movies. I was incredibly into the films of Akira Kurosawa. I had an undying love for British comedy in the films of Jacques Tati, and this was developing the sensibilities of very direct blocking, visual storytelling, really varied focal lengths, and fast-paced dialogue. And I had also realized that the titular jump cuts that I wanted to do were going to be very difficult to film, maybe too difficult, in fact. However, I had also seen Twin Peaks, and so I took the Red Room from Twin Peaks and I combined it with some shots from a film called Tokyo Drifter, and I had my fix. I wrote a surprisingly tight script, clocking in at about 30 pages over the summer A period while dealing with the most difficult summer Bible class I have ever endured. And I sent it to some skeptical friends and family, so I took some of the Biola-specific references out of it and made it more accessible, and then I sent it to Nate for a second opinion, and I got a very positive response, like at least a Nate Bell 2 on Letterboxd, which is usually only reserved for stuff that came out before he was born. So at that point, pre-production started to gain some serious momentum. This was a bit of a lonely time for me. I like to address things in person because I like the social aspects of filmmaking, so the dozens of no texts that I started to get from potential cast and crew started to get a bit disheartening. However, I found my DP in the amazing Kyle Lynn, and while I was giving Matthew Hawksworth only a couple aneurysms, I was in a Discord call with Kyle, Gaffer Chase Chan, AC Eric Tong, and sound guy Josh Cooley, shot listing the entire movie while they played Clash of Clans the whole time. I also got my two assistant directors in the form of Kaylin Hilt and KG McLaughlin, who were both crucial on the shoot. Despite the fact the film was shot entirely on campus, the permitting process was very difficult because I had to get no less than 4 resident directors to respond to their emails during RA training, but we got through it just in the nick of time. I got very overwhelmed with the whole thing in the days leading up to the shoot, but the boys stepped in and got me a ton of freshmen to work on the film while I was losing it. Professor Taylor was very important in making that happen, so thank you, Professor. I also had an actor I was very excited to work with, again, drop out due to work conflicts, and my friend Zane Zietlow stepped up with only days to spare. We ended up shooting Cut Man in 5 days, which were an absolute blast. You can see back when my hair was under control. The whole cast and crew were super game, and we ended ahead of schedule on every single day, which I'm very proud of, even though it's not necessarily the main priority. It was a huge learning experience for me, as on top of being the sole producer, I had written the film, was directing the film, and ended up starring in the film when I couldn't find anyone else who was willing to commit to the role. The if you can, don't do that, but I had to do it. The shoot hinged on an incredibly intense day 4 in which we had to shoot 7 pages across 3 locations with a very limited amount of time. Rigorous planning went into this day, most importantly because we were filming a stabbing right out in the open after a volleyball tournament, and there were multiple blood effects and prosthetics that were expertly managed by our own Freddie Rask. We actually lost further time because one of the volleyball players had a medical emergency, so we had to evacuate all our gear while several emergency response vehicles pulled up outside the gym where we were shooting. And I have to say, campus safety was amazing about getting that whole thing to happen. I want to shout out Chief Chung for being a consummate professional. Thanks to every single person on the crew, everyone working at Biola, and a ton of eager freshmen, we got through it. And I want to single out these freshmen for a moment because they're a really exciting group of people. Having spent enough time in this department, I've developed a keen eye for what we look for and the attitude of students, and I'll just say the future of this department is looking very bright. If you're watching the finished film and you see a name that you might not recognize, give them a call. But we got through the shoot, and I started on post-production with my editors, Grant and Isabel. We've been chipping away at the film since then. I don't have a ton to show from the editing bay because we tend to zone in pretty hard most of the time. And as Professor Schmidt says, I was Peter Jacksoning it, spending as much time in the editing bay as I could while trying my best to be only manageably annoying about it. We got really excited about cutting all the air out of the film, using our coverage, and just making a super tight movie. Biola's beloved visual effects artist, Garrison Keaton, took a 3D scan of me for an action set piece, and I gave a call to my BTS guy, newcomer Eric Westet, who took a lot of those pictures you've been seeing. And we went down to Studio B in the pouring rain to get the necessary green screen footage to tie the film together. While we're obviously turning a cut in, we're continuing working on the film after my graduation, since I don't want the scope to get out of control. And I get access to my composer friend Kara over at Liberty University, while Garrison keeps innovating as we continue polishing the film as much as possible. I truly think I can say I was successful in my goals, because you can really see my improvement on the screen along with the contributions of everyone who said yes to this thing. Around 40 people worked on this film. I can't name them all because I don't want to go over time, but this is really their film. We'll see if a festival run happens. I know the quality is going to be there, but it's not something I've ever experimented with before, and the 23-minute runtime might make submissions a little bit difficult. So I did the senior thesis vanity project. What's next for me after graduation? No, that's a joke. I'm kidding. I've got an internship or 2 lined up that I think will really help me grow into my talents in my career. I have additionally begun to exploit the school's alumni network, getting connected with professional producers and other filmmakers. Nate, as well as Lisa Kim, have been very helpful in this regard, especially since, Lord willing, I will be among the ranks of our alumni in just a couple of days. I'm going to be laying low, waiting for the housing market to burst, and that's kind of it. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. I'm going to grad school. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you. Mount St. Mary's University's MFA program. Yes, sir, the all-girls school has a co-ed graduate program, and Lord knows I've been failing miserably so far to get those church women. No, there's actually a much better reason for this, and that is because of all of you here today. I was thinking about who I know in the industry that makes some sort of stable income, and I thought of all my professors here. I thought deeper, and I thought about the true love that each and every one of you have for bringing us up in a godly way and teaching us about the intricacies of this art form. My tuition dollars have been spent pricelessly, and the impact that I felt is an impact that I think I'd like to pass along to the generations below me. So hopefully someday I'm going to be a professor. I have learned and grown here in a way that I do not think I would have anywhere else. It is not because of me. That is because of you. Thank you.